So the president gives this speech on the 19th of January, 2019. And, I couldn't comprehend why everybody wasn't out in the street, dancing it up after that speech. I think he had just been criticized for one. I didn't catch that one, man. On the, I think it was like the 8th or something. And then there was the one that temporarily ended the shutdown. That was a little bit later, but on the 19th of January, that was a very, I think people are going to find that's a very important one. That's going to go down as a very important one because, um, just being familiar with the terminologies and stuff like that was used. That was just music to my ears. And then shortly after that, the other thing that really got me, that was just really, really just funny, was this lady that, or at least, according to this, big worldwide stage, or so to speak, as they say, was grounded or had her plane grounded with all her, entourage on board or family, whatever it was. That was the second thing. The third thing was that shortly after that, it was the first time in my life where I had heard that a speaker, for some reason, didn't want to let the president use the House chambers to do a State of the Union address. And I think everybody remembers, the time that I think it was Obama. I'm not sure. I think it was doing some kind of address, and somebody yelled something out, and she was, let's see, if you're looking at him, she's on his left shoulder or upper right. If you're looking at him, she's on his, or it'd be on your right. But anyhow, they yelled something out, and I mean, she literally sat up in her chair and, like, in the most disgusted face you ever saw. And then this, how dare you disrespect the president kind of thing, and you're going to tell me that, and after everything. And that's the very one who doesn't let an actual sitting president even make a speech at the House chambers. Like, that's, to me, I mean, that's just, he can do what he wants, but I got a pretty good idea of how his flow goes, and that's a good move by him. But anyway, and the fourth thing was, after the speech was over, on some of the search engines, there seemed to be a hell of a lot more, excuse my language, but a hell of a lot more negativity and urgent negativity, like, or in other words, a race to, by the shadow citizens, the shadow citizens, the ones in the shadows that have been, usurping the government and our government and working against you for, that you didn't know, roughly for the past, 60, 70 years or so. But anyhow, the urgent negativity that came out, and a lot of it, more so than a usual speech, and it was so much that it left all other reactions to all other speeches kind of, that he normally gives in the dust. So I went and I just wanted to satisfy my own curiosity and look at that, and because what I heard, was just music to my ears. I mean, now this is provided that he follows through, provided that it's pertaining to what I think it is, and so far it seems to be. But if nothing else, they, those, whatever the hell they are, just put a confirmation on it, big time. Think of it like this. So given that, there was all this, there was a lot of it, this really, really urgent, negativity that came out, shortly after that. And then of course you had that, it was the reactions after that really gave it away. I was like, okay, so there was the immediate reaction of, okay, so there's this, and whether it be on this big world stage, so to speak, or in a movie where a villain's plotting to do something, or real life or whatever, seems like that would be to trigger, the ultimate response. That would be the perfect time and the perfect reason to trigger that. And second, to not want, first time in my life I've ever heard a House Speaker denying the president, of the administration there, to give a State of the Union address, from the House chambers. First time I'd ever heard that. So something must have been said. So I went back and just kind of curiously, just kind of went back over it, and sure enough, there was, not to me, now it could be because I'm a little more familiar with some of the business terminology in there, but I only heard music to my ears. I mean, it was great. The way it was presented, the order it was presented, and you kind of have to know what to look for, I guess, too. But there was a reason that they kind of didn't want the president there. There was a reason that they kind of didn't want him saying too much more on any public forum, and that's exactly what they do to us, and have been doing to us on a daily basis, and there's let's just say this thing goes on, I'm sure, at least 2 to 3 parallels of meaning, but we'll just take it like this. And yes, I do know what I'm referring to here, but I kind of have to walk a line here, so I'm just, because I don't want to say anything that'll upset an apple cart here, but on the good side of things. But anyhow, if you think about it business-wise, people, you have to, like, for instance, if it involves, if something has been done to, a certain party or group of people, in this case, let's just say it's a nation of people, or a country, a whole territorial people or group or whatever, and you want to reach some kind of, like, you could just go take everything back over, brute force, military and stuff, and I'm pretty sure that's what he's referring to as far as, like, it's last resort. But if you want to, if you can, and albeit I'm sure everybody's doing their best, I'm sure, to do it the other way, if for somehow these idiots have, worked things in a way where somehow lawfully, certain things have to be retweaked. Well, then the only way you do that is through reworking a contract or an agreement. And in doing that, it involves certain elements. And you have to make sure if it's a group, now remember, you have to make sure everybody is on the same sheet of music and that their, intentions are the same and they're all, as they say, in the business world, that it's, well, in the commercial world, they say it's usually legally binding, it has to be lawfully binding and stuff like that. I mean, if you think of it that way, you'll see. I mean, you don't think you don't think I did my homework? People, I went over that thing the way I do it. I mean, I listen to what you're saying. I listen to every word. I listen to the order of the words. I listen to the exact context of the words. I look at what's on the screen. I look at what's been on the screen already, how many times it appears on the screen. Then I go back and I look at what that person speaking is doing that particular time. Oh yeah, I do my homework. I pull every last root, every last meaning out of each single root of every single word if I think it's relevant. Now, out of all of that, that's what it seemed like. Well, what does that mean? It means that as far as I can tell, yes, it would favor the true American people. And as to what I think it would refer to would be, let's just say, it would be very nice if it did indeed, work out to, to be what I contemplate it to be, and what I think it is, but if you just going back to more simple things here, if you go back and look at that, or any of them, but just listen. You have to listen to his words. I'm gonna just put this like this, then I'm gonna leave it like this, but because I'm just trying to help people try to get this without worrying. Because I heard some people that were, some of the loyal, the ones that, deliver the dailies, I'll just call them the dailies, the news dailies, the true news dailies, not the freaking, never mind. Anyway, but yeah, so I heard a couple of them even be, or at least, they seemed like they were a little shaken still. So especially after the speech that covered the shutdown, the temporary ending of the shutdown. But even that, people, that is required. It just surprises me that all these people, they say, oh yeah, they say they're so good at what they're doing, but yet he does something and they don't get it. Well, if you know the Matrix so good, do you not know you have to go in and out to do certain things? Do you not? I mean, even that speech, the one that temporarily now has ended the shutdown, just for the time being, even that one was music to my ears. And that was the one where everybody's, oh, he caved and all that. Yeah, that, well, there is something caving. That's what it seems to me, but it's sure as hell not him. At least not from what if I am interpreting it correctly, it's not even close. But yeah, caving would be a correct term. It's just, and that could be on purpose as well, because there seems to be a few people that need to get the hang, the swing of, and the practice, and the meaning of using the word context. And if you really don't know, people really do need to ready themselves for a few words that they've probably heard but had no idea that they might just mean certain things. And maybe I'll try to do something on that later, but I just wanted to put this up there to give people a little hope here, and to say to the president there, thank you, sir, for everything so far. You know, I don't know about too many of them out there, but there's a few that do, and if I'm interpreting it correctly, I get it. And thank you. And you know, one more thing about, you know, the president's speech there that I'm referring to which was on the 19th, you know, the 1/9 day. That's a pretty important day. I'll leave that for later, but later time. Anyhow, certain words, you know, in order to, you know, as I'm interpreting this here, you know, and in arriving at, you know, if you want to call it, you know, a final, well, some people say, you know, any type of final remedy, and I'm talking about in the business world, any type of final remedy or agreement or settlement, or you know, any type of final conclusion that you arrive at, and especially in the business world, you know, when you are drawing that up, and to make sure that, you know, you're that, let's just say that everybody's, you know, on the same sheet of music, and so that they're not, you know, oh, for example, you know, not watching a movie or something, or enjoying themselves, you know, in a theater when they should be working, you know, just for example, you know, for example. But so there's no miscomprehension later. Certain words have to be included in that final conclusion, that final agreement, so that after that, there is no excuse whatsoever of, and there shouldn't be anyway. I mean, these, I don't even want to waste breath on them anymore, but they know damn well what they've done, and damn well what they're doing. And to, you know, well, I guess the most easiest way would be to say you're doing one thing, and oh, you didn't realize it was this and it was another. This is, no. You know, this is what has taken the time to go back and have to make sure that all this is on the record. So anyhow, again, I appreciate the President for doing that. But I just wanted to mention that one last thing. There's certain words have to be included in not only that final conclusion. I'm just using the word conclusion here. There's actually some other terms for it. But so that there is no, as most people know it, misunderstanding or miscomprehension later whatsoever about it.